Hey guys, I'm John, and this is the John Freitag channel. We're working on an old junkyard Cadillac, and as promised, I've dug into the carburetor. And here it is, the old Quadrajet. Now, these things are about as complicated a carburetor as you can get your hands on. And this one looks like somebody's been in there before because I see there's a screw that was different, that was wrong. But that's okay, it'll go back together the way it came apart. I bought a carburetor kit which has the gaskets and everything. So right now I'm just in the process of cleaning and scrubbing, and then I'm gonna blow all the orifices out. Now if you look down in the bowl, you probably can't see too much left anymore. You might not be able to see in there anyway. But there was dirt in there. And that dirt floats around, gets into jets, plugs things up, and the next thing you know, you're running like garbage. And it doesn't take much dirt. What it could have been is just a piece of the deteriorated old gasket or something could have got in there, or for whatever reason, some dirt got in there or some junk. Anyway, that's my big theory at the moment. We'll see if that doesn't change. If I put this thing together and it still runs like junk, well, then the hunt continues. But it's made in USA, GM part. It says Quadrajet right here on the side by Rochester Quadrajet. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I'm going to keep working on this, clean it up, and get it ready to reassemble it. Well, I'm getting things cleaned up. I got the very bottom base plate pretty cleaned up. Oh, I'm ready to put in the idle mixture screws. They go in the bottom here. They got a little spring on them. I got them cleaned up pretty nice, and I'm just gonna stick them in there and just turn them in a couple turns just to get started. Now, I haven't done one of these carburetors. I did one, I think the last one I did was probably 1985. And it worked good afterwards. So I'm slowly taking my time. I'm gonna put it back together and get everything set the way it's supposed to be. I've got, the list came with the carb kit with all the different applications. It tells you what to set the float at and all the other settings. So I'll go through that and make sure I get the right one. I'll probably, I don't know, take a Sharpie and underline it so I stay on the right line. So wish me luck, start putting this thing together. I think I can put the base plate onto the center section of the carburetor, the bowl. And this is the one that's got all the ports in it that really matter. We got our metering jets. We got the metering jets in there. I got them blew out, and I did get a chunk of dirt came out. This is the accelerator pump well. Now I don't got to worry about any of this stuff yet. I just want to get the base screwed back on. And once I do that, I'll make sure everything's clean and continue on. The center section here, which is the bowl, all that, I just went to blow that out, and I blew out a little chunk of dirt. That's, you know, dirt. It's nothing but trouble with this kind of stuff. But I think I got it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the bowl on it. And I got a number down here at the base of the bowl. It says 33, looks like 187, and it's got a big 16 stamped over it. Don't know why. There's numbers on the side of the carburetor here. Like if this was pointing towards me, it'd be the front of the car, so this would be the driver's side. They're stamped there, and they are 7040230, and then there's another set of numbers, 0710. Don't know what good they're for. I got the carb kit by make, model, year. My Happy Napa. Let's see if it all works. So I got that. Now I gotta kind of dust up my little area here and make sure I'm not putting it back down in dirty stuff. But I want to get the base on, and I think I can do that pretty quick now. Because the carb kit, which I haven't opened yet, but I'm gonna right now, comes like that. It's got all the stuff in there. Once you break this seal, you're stuck with it. I could possibly return it before that, but we're going in, man. We're going in. There's a little O-ring I don't want to lose. Don't know where that goes. That might have to figure that one out. So we're broken into this kit, so we own it now for sure. That's all right. It's like 40 bucks. Comes with a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't come with everything. I didn't get a new float with it. New air cleaner gasket. I can put that over there. A new base gasket. Lovely. But what I'm really looking for right now is the base plate to center section float bowl gasket. And that's this guy right here. I hope. No, this is it. Okay. Oh, really isn't that great a fit. It really isn't. Well, that's funny. Check this out. It's narrow on the pins. I'm gonna have to stretch it on. Oh my goodness, is that real? Oh, brother, come on. It's supposed to be die stamped or whatever, who knows. Look at that, and that one's short. It doesn't line up. Beautiful. Super important little note. If you're doing one of these, the gasket only goes one way. If you look at it, there's an extra gizmo here, hole. That lines up with the hole on the plate. I almost had it backwards. But that's not why it's not lining up on the pins. I mean, good thing it did, or I wouldn't have looked at that. I put this thing together, it would have been completely wrong. But I generally look the holes over, make sure things do line up. But I don't get too much of a hurry, because you can Gomer this thing up pretty bad. When I say Gomer, I mean like Gomer Pyle USMC. He was a Gomer. Okay, so try to get this on here. Okay. I think what will happen is I'm going to put the plate on top. I got to give it a little stretch. This isn't stretchy stuff. Put the plate on it and screw it down and let the plate press that down on. I think that's my clever way to do this. And I remember little screws for that. I'm not sure that's going to work either. Man, I don't know if I had to open those holes up a little bit because it almost looks like it's going to ruin the gasket. It's bubbling it up a little. What a pain in the neck. So I decided what I'm going to do is take one of my tiny sockets and just shove it down on the dowel. You guys can get a look at this and see what I'm up against. Right here. I'm going to work it on in a circular motion. Yeah, it's going to work. Who knows where this was made and how many years ago it was made, and okay, I got it. That doesn't seem like it should have been that way. But we got it on there. Now I'm going to put the rest of the other piece on. This guy right here. If I remember how. Here we go. Oh, I'm going backwards. Did it again. Well, this is going well. There we go. We got it. There it sits. Now I'll put the screws in. Well, I got my little spring here for the accelerator pump return spring. I wish I got a new spring, but the kit does not have a new spring. I'm really glad I got a new float seat because they tend to be problematic. I've had them where they've stuck and hung up, but the float would stick and it would just like it was running out of gas. It just would not open up and let fuel in. It would take a lot of pressure to overcome this if it was sticking. So all that to say, I'm glad I got a new one. And I'm about done spraying this carb cleaner, so I'm not going to worry about hurting my float. My needle seat, all that stuff. It's got the Viton or the little rubber tip on it, and you know the carb cleaner would destroy that. So I guess we're pretty much done with carb cleaner as far as that stuff goes. But I'll still be using carb cleaner as I'm getting pieces cleaned up to then install. So let's throw this in anyway, get that over with. I put my new little gasket on there. Set it down in there if I can. There we go. Since I'm changing this seat and all, I'm going to have to double check and make sure that the float level is correct. Just getting it started. Well, I found a screwdriver that should work, and it does. You can give it a little snug. I think that's about good. A little needle will go in there, but I'm not ready for that yet, so I'm going to hold off. This is what they give you for the new accelerator pump plunger. It's the whole pump plunger with a new shaft and everything just like this. What I got to do now is take this spring off. Just got to pull the spring down. There we go. It unlocks it. Almost like a brake retainer spring kind of scenario, but not quite. All right, so this is going to go over that. That one's junk now. I'm not throwing anything away till I have this thing all together. Been down that road before. It's kind of silly when you don't have everything you need and you need it and then it's gone and the right one didn't come in a kit. Wow, this is going to be tricky. I got to squeeze the spring down. Got it. Well, that wasn't so bad. So there we got the new one. And what it does is when you stop the gas, that spring allows this to feed the gas in. Otherwise, you know, if it pushed with full pedal pressure, it wouldn't work right whatsoever. So that goes in there. That's where that guy lives. Which that can actually go in the top of the thing. Now I got to get my ducks in a row. I guess really my next thing is getting my float right. That dirt? Nah. All the dirt's been eradicated, I hope. Well, there's no reason not to put the top gasket on at this juncture. Looks to me like it's, no, there is a reason not to, because see what it does? It covers up the float. So I am back to doing the float first. Okay, it's got a little vacuum operated gizmo here. When the vacuum's low, it picks it up and it pulls the metering rods up out of the seat and allows more gas in. So I don't know exactly what they call it. I could look it up on a diagram and see what they call it. 22 power piston assembly. So it's like a Holley, power valve or whatever they call it, but it's the power piston they call it. And what I gotta do is I gotta push it back down into place, and then it gets this little clippy guy, goes over it to hold it down and retain it. And I don't see any dirt on this. Looks pretty clean. I'll line this up, push down on it. It works freely in the bore, which is good. I just gotta clip that on there, and okay, I got it. Okay, so that worked. Hopefully I don't have to put my float on after this. I thought it was before this, but I could be wrong. Nope, I screwed up. I gotta pull it out or I can't put my float in. So my float goes in next. I don't have a sequence. They don't tell you the sequence on this. It's do it the opposite of disassembly. Reassemble the opposite of disassembly. Problem is I don't remember what I did. It was only yesterday, but still. Hey man, I'm getting old. Yesterday was a long time ago now. But that means I get to do this twice for added pleasure and enjoyment. Okay, got that. That's gonna be a nuisance with the floating away. Got that, got that. Now, somewhere is that little float springy thingy I gotta put on there that hooks the needle to the float. There's also this guy that goes in there, but I think this goes in last. If I remember how I pulled it out, I don't. Where's my little spring? Everything should be here, right where I left it. Phew, found it. It is tiny too. Look at the size of this thing. It's like that, just that little spring on top of the float needle. All right. So I gotta unclip that from this old float needle. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's tough. Hope it don't go flying. That would be very unhappy. Got it. Whew, what a pain. Okay, new needle. I was talking to Connor before. We were talking about this, you know. Working with your fingers and hands and doing this kind of thing is a skill set. But you know, the biggest factor of all this stuff is patience. If you don't have patience, you're dead in the water. You're out of the game right off the bat. You just can't do it unless you have a little bit of patience. And not that I'm the most patient guy in the world, but I got enough patience when it comes to this stuff to where I know enough not to fly off the handle and start throwing things and losing parts and doing stupid stuff. So all that to say, takes a little patience. Sorry. I just heard the sound of 15 unsubscriptions. I heard a disturbance in the subscription force. Probably Disney will come after me for copywriting because I said that. All right, here we go. Drop the float into position. Come on, you. There we go. Yeah, it's amazing the guys invented all this stuff. Wow. But it was a matter of inventing and then developing too. So all in all, a lot of smart men and women, I'm sure, figured this stuff up. Said I can monkey around and play with it and wind up driving a cool Cadillac even after it sat around for 25 years. I'll tell you what, this is kind of a tedious little project. Now I gotta get the clip back, put back on my power piston. Whoa, power piston flew up, and guess what? It flew up out of the jet, so I gotta get that all lined back up again. I just gave that big speech on patience. I hope I don't lose mine now. There's two of them, and I gotta line them up at the same time, exactly. I did it, I got it again. Gotta shove this thing on there. I just dropped it because my big fingers were in the way. I think that power piston was hanging up a little bit. It's very free now because I've cleaned up all the stuff so well, but hopefully I did. Got it. And that just seems to hang right onto there. So now I've got my float in there, got my power piston in there. Now I gotta figure out how to measure the float and what it should be at, so I gotta hit the books. For the 1970, all 472s is 1/4 inch. Measured from the top of the float to the edge there, and they gave me this nifty little measuring device that tells me 8/32. Actually, it's got a bunch of graduations on there, but 8/32 is my 1/4 inch. So I just gotta gently push down on the float, make sure the hinge is set. You don't want to shove too hard on that little seat because, oh, it's a little bit off. No, don't want that. If the float isn't not right, it will just not run right. Oh, that's rocking up on me. And you have to bend. I need something smaller than my big finger in there. You have to bend the float to make the adjustment, so you know what that is. That's going to be back and forth, bending it 15 times till I bend it and break it off. Oh, I'd say it's definitely wrong. Yeah, it's almost... I don't like this thing. It's like backwards. 8/32. Let me try it this way. A hair low, I think. Boy, this is annoying. Yep, I gotta bend it up just a hair, I think. Now, how do I bend it without... Do I gotta take the power valve back out and everything? Jeepers creepers, it looks like I do. So can I bend it without taking it out? I don't know. And I'd have to take the power piston out again to take it out. I guess I'll stop waffling and just do it, because that's what I gotta do. Hopefully I don't lose any parts though. That's what makes me nervous about it. There, I got the power piston out. That was pretty easy. I'll have to take that thing all the way out to do it. So That's good. I still got to take this thing off or the float won't come off. So I'm worried about it springing and flying across the room and being gone. I am worried about that. So I want to be careful when I'm taking this off. I don't do anything twitchy. Makes me lose contact with it and it flies away. Okay. Whew, got that. Now I got to pull the float out and the needle out, and then I got to bend it. And there's the needle. I can leave that right there. The needle's there. My little pin, I can take that off. And if you look at that float, there's an area where it bends, where the notches are. And it looks to me like right now it's actually bent down just a hair. Let's see if I can do it with my fingers. You know what? I'm not. I'm going to see if I can hold onto the float and then use these pliers to just give it a little tweak. Well, that was a little tweak. Now we'll see how good I tweaked it. All right, so I got this. The screwdriver tip was dirty. I wiped it off on my pants. Sometimes I think the only reason I wear pants is so I have some place to wipe things off. Okay. Boom. Got that in there. Okay, now, if I push down on that, and that pushes down on the float, that thing's set all the way in. Let's see if I'm a hero. Still got my .250, quarter of an inch. Oh yeah. Right on. It just took a little tweak and I got it right on. So now I'm happy. I'm going to start putting this thing back together. Just to show you, it is possible to use the cheesy paper measuring device, whatever you want to call this thing. I'm just going to put it right there on the edge, push down on the float, and yeah, I can see it. It's right there at 8:30 seconds, which would be quarter inch. I got this all snapped in there. I got my power piston in. It works up and down very smooth and easy like it looks like it's supposed to. And I got my float in there. It's adjusted. Now I'm going to drop this little guy in here. I mean, and this guy just drops right in here. He's just like a plastic block that just lives in there. It doesn't lay in there flat and even, which makes me nervous, but that is what it is. Now I got to put this gasket on, and this gasket has a weird cutout. This guy right here, that you can see right there, has got like a cutout that goes out and around the power piston, which looks to me like it's going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but I'm pretty sure I'll get it in there okay. Now, there's another thing to look at with these things too. I can already see I screwed up, and you could see it too. I got my accelerated pump hole on this side. It's supposed to be on that side. This is the second time on this carburetor. The first time I put the gasket on, I put it on in the wrong orientation. So you got to watch that. It's everything about this is making sure the orientations are correct, or you will have no end of trouble. It probably wouldn't even run. I don't know. Probably spewing gas all over because, well, I would have never got the accelerator pump to actually go in. So that would have been a deal breaker. Okay, so that's sitting down there, and there's little tabs here in this base, in this bowl plate to put them on, but I have to use the same trick with my small socket and just kind of like wiggle them on there to shove them down on. There we go, we got them. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. My next thing is putting the top on. And what I got to do for that though is I got to spray all the orifices out. Just going to use a can of that carburetor cleaner, make sure all these passages, everything is cleaned right out. These air bleed tubes have to be clean. My jets, these are the metering valves. They have to be clean. Oops, almost forgot this guy. To be honest, I don't know what it is, but I do remember where it goes, and it goes down in here, and I got a little gasket that goes there first. I'm gonna go ahead and take this gasket right back off very gently so I don't disturb it and wreck it. I don't want a broken gasket. So I'll take this back off. I gotta put that back on. So hopefully this is the last thing I forget when I'm reassembling this thing, or I'll have problems. But what I have is, there's that little hole here. I don't even, honestly, I don't know what it does. I know it goes down through and into the intake manifold. It's got a little reed valve here with a Viton seal on it. It's got a gasket there. And then it just leads into this channel here. So I don't know that it really does much of anything at all, but I think we better have it. Because it was part of the original equipment. I don't know what it does. So I don't know what it'd be missing if I don't put it back in. Some of these carburetor kits are funny too because they come with extra stuff that you don't wind up really having to have, and because they cover a lot of different carburetors. So I got a special little bag here with extra gizmos in it, and the SM30 bag. I don't know what that means. Looks like I get a new gasket for my fuel filter. I get a ball there. Oh, that ball is probably for the check valve for the accelerator pump. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm gonna leave that alone because I know my accelerator pump was working good. I'm putting a new plunger in and it'll be better yet. Now this is the tiniest cork gasket. I can't even imagine how they make something like that. But that's where it goes. It goes right in here. Yep. Because the last cork gasket came out in little tiny pieces. Perfect. I got it set there. Now, I'm going to drop this guy back in there the way it's supposed to live. And it lives just like that. When the cover goes on, that'll be clamped down in there tight the way it's supposed to be. Okay, back to this gasket. Now, am I forgetting anything? The accelerator plunger, stick that in. That goes there. Now, put this on. I can actually put this on later. Put this back on again. I got that in place now. I got this. Boy, I really hope that caddy runs good after I get this done. Hopefully, should run like a top. Unless I screwed something up, which is always the possibility. Okay, so I think I'm ready to drop this top back on there. All these little tubes line up, and I gotta make sure I get my choke hooked up, and I gotta make sure I get my accelerator pump put in. So first thing is this choke, because it's a rod, and I gotta feed it in there just right so that it'll go in. Now, which one was it in? It was in the longer one. Yeah, we want the longer one because it's a big, heavy car. That's part of the reason for that. All right, so let's see. Am I gonna get that in there? It's gotta go in that way. It's gotta be this way. Okay, here we go. Like this. Wow, it's a pain. This is tricky stuff, it really is. Now, I'm opening that up because it gives me just a little bit more length. These two guys go down here, I hope. Yep, they do. And this guy, accelerator pump goes in this hole here. Right, and the air bleeds go in there, and now this thing just goes straight down on. And I'll let the throttle down. What is holding me? The accelerator pump. Okay, so it's down on there. I got pressure on the accelerator pump, and it's trying to shove the thing back up. So I think I want to get a screw or two in there, get this thing snugged down. And what screw do I want? One of these guys right there. Whoops. One was here, screwed into place. There we go. Okay, so I got it in there. I got my accelerator pump hooked up. Now the next tricky thing is on the choke side. I got to get my choke rod in because it's actually inside the carburetor body. Now when I took these screws off, I tore this thing apart. They were all kind of loose. I'm going to make sure they're snugged down pretty snug. I won't go stupid tight, but I will go pretty darn snug. So let's see, I got 3 screws holding it together, 3 of like 7 or 8, 9 screws I think. Okay, so this is part of it right here. It's the automatic choke and heat riser spring, all goes together here. It goes through here, there's a hole in the side of the carburetor that latches into an arm that operates the choke. Now, here it is. Wow. I don't know if I like the looks of this because this thing just falls right off. It goes down in there. It's gonna be a pain to get together. I'm gonna have to get more light and stuff. I'm just too dark. Okay guys, if you ever have to do this, this is what you're up against. This is the rod, the lever, and it's supposed to be inside there in that position. So that little shaft goes through and latches into the lever, and that's what operates it. Now, if you can see that, it's gotta go down inside this slot right here. Where the heck am I? Oh, down inside that slot right there. And then I gotta get it so it flips in there in between the slots where it's gotta work. So I'll be working on this for a little while. That was fun. I got it lined up in there. I had to set the carburetor on its side and let gravity help me out quite a bit. I got it hooked onto the little rod, which is right there, this little rod guy, and I got it stuck in there. I don't have the clip on yet because I don't dare. I'm gonna try to put the actual mechanism all together now, which, as you can see, is falling apart. I don't know where this goes now. I gotta figure that out, and we'll see what happens. Man, oh man, this is a pain in the neck. I think that rod is supposed to somehow work that. Now I got to figure it out. Oh, it goes up to here. Okay, it goes up to the secondaries. Keeps them from opening up too soon when it's cold. All right, so I got my little gizmo lined up down there, and I got my little gizmo here. The way it plugs in, you see it's flat tabbed. That's gonna plug into there. Now I got to get this rod right here, which is hooked to the vacuum activator, up into the secondary hook right there. So wish me luck. Let's see if I can get this done right. So I got to come up, man, it looks to be darn near impossible. I have this carburetor precariously sitting on an old paint mix cup. All right, so that's there. Come up into that. Come on, plug in. Oh, I got a flickery light in here. It's driving me crazy. You can see why I didn't film a whole lot of this, because it's just so tedious. And I'm not really making an instructional video, fellas. It's just me struggling doing this. So if you ever want to do it, you can rest assured you're not the only one struggling if you're not the Quadrajet guru. I guess there's a channel, so you may want to check him out. I don't know if it's Quadrajet Guru. What is, am I putting that on there right? No, I'm not. I'm going backwards. I think, I don't know. Am I going backwards? That's got to be like that. Nope, that's right. It's kind of weird how this rod goes. I'll show you when I get it snapped in there. I mean, when and if I get it snapped in there. Here we go. There we go. We got it. Okay. My little guy's still in place. I got to manipulate that up so that it lines up into that. On a side note, I bought new vacuum line. I think that was probably a good idea. Okay, I think I'm getting on it. Yep, it's working. Okay. Tabs that hold it in place. I can move it and open the choke now. And there's one screw that appears to be directly below that rod. It's this screw right here that I already took out. It's kind of like a bugle head. Why is that rod in my way? So frustrating. Okay, if I tug that down, oh, there we go. Things will move enough to get out of my way. So I got it there. Drop the screw down in there. Get out my trusty screwdriver. I really don't want to mess this thing up because I want the automatic choke to work. I want this thing to work right. So take my time, get her done right. I'll probably have, if I'm spitballing, 2 hours in just doing this, maybe 3. Probably between installation and disassembly, I'll have half a day in it. All right, so that works. All right, looks like I'm a hero, guys. Man, I couldn't be happier about that. Wow, boy, it's tough. It's tricky, but I got it. I'm gonna put the rest of it together, and I got this guy. I don't have a clue where this goes. I don't remember, so I gotta sift that out. Well, I do believe I've just about got this thing. I just got to tighten down all the little screws to hold the top on. Some are long to go all the way down to the base, and some are short. They just hold the fuel bowl to the top. They're all a little sticky, but they're all going in okay as far as I can tell. That one's going in all right. They screw in quite a long ways, which is a good thing because they're going into aluminum or whatever this material is. I'm not sure this is aluminum. It's probably a different alloy of something, but for the most part, it's like an aluminum. Alright, so I got all these screws, and I got a couple more screws put in. I've got my new base gasket, which is pretty awesome. I can't wait to put that on. I've got these 2 little screws got to go in yet, and they go in right down in the horn. I'll set one in there. Oh, man. I don't want to drop it down in, then I got to pick it upside down and put it. How am I going to do this? Oh, I need a little screwdriver. Here we go. Do it that way. That screw goes there, and this screw, oddly enough, and I remembered where this one went. This guy went up here, a little tiny screw there, and it gets trapped under the bigger screw there. So that's good. I got that figured out. A little nervous there for a minute. Afraid it went inside somewhere, but I guess I got to spin this around so I can orient my finger properly to get that screw dropped in there. Anyway, I'm going to, I'm going to double check, make sure I got all my parts. Well, that's not the base gasket. This is the base gasket. This guy right here. Kind of a thick gasket. Hopefully it's some thermal insulation so that I don't wind up with a vapor lock scenario. Nobody wants that. All right, so I get all these screws tightened down, and I think I'm just about there, and everything seems to work. I'm going to go over, yep, the fast idle's there, everything. I'm going to go over my adjustments, which I have a whole list of adjustments. The only one I've really done has been the float adjustment here, but look at this list of adjustments. It's just like I got page after page of adjustments. Most of it, I don't think I'll have to adjust. I didn't monkey with adjustments at all. I just tore it apart, cleaned it out, new gaskets, new accelerator pump, new float, seat, and needle, and everything else just cleaned up. So hopefully I didn't get any adjustments. These are all pretty heavy rods. It takes a lot to bend them. I do remember this was in the second position. There's 2 positions on this. One's a a faster ratio, which, you know, hit the pump a little faster. You don't necessarily want that on this big a car. It will shoot in enough gas anyway. Well, guys, looks like I got her done. And I got the, this is my base gasket I'm going to use. The kit came with two, but this one mirrors the one that was original. So I'm going to stick with that. I don't know what the difference is. There's obviously a couple differences. Like this has a wide open secondary. I don't know if this one might even be better, but I think I'm just going to stick with the original looking one. So I'm going to head on out there now. We'll throw it on. We're going to see if this thing works. All right, well, it's a little bit dark under this hood, but you can see this pretty good. I still have some gummy, gooey gasket material stuck to this mounting flange for the carburetor. Plus, there's also some old mouse debris laying around, old nuts and berries from this years sitting in the field. I broke off that one stud there. I ain't gonna worry about it. I think the other one will hold it down tight enough. It'll clamp it down, but I do gotta get rid of all this powdery dust and crap that's down in there. All right, guys, I got this thing on there finally. Jeepers creepers, I had to take it back off because I couldn't get this hose plugged onto the carburetor. It's buried down in there. Without pulling the car back off. So I did the job twice. Isn't that great? I changed off some vacuum lines. Like this is a new vacuum hose right here. I didn't get them all changed because I didn't have quite enough new stuff. And I think I got them all hooked up right. I got those are new. I got a good flexible used one going to the power booster. So now it's just a matter of giving it a drink. Let's see if this thing fires up and runs actually. That'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm going to leave the air cleaner off for the moment because I just want to make sure that I don't have any gas leaks where I rehooked the gas fitting. And I'm going to put a little gas down the carb just so it doesn't have to pump all the gas off the battery, you know, because the carburetor is going to be empty now. So let's see. Better already. Make sure I don't have any gas leaks. So the choke was choking it out. So I opened the choke, started running smooth again. It's on fast idle right now. And we're going to see if the heat riser, you know, opens the choke on its own. That's what we got to wait for. All right, that's a little different than it was. Holy smokes. I think we're back in the game. So I'm gonna get the air cleaner put back on it and take it for a test spin. Okay, so I took it for a quick spin and I'm not getting upshifting. So I think it's a vacuum modulator. I'm not positive. That's what I think it is. That's hooked up, that electric gizmo, but I honestly don't know what that's even for. So we gotta pull this off again. I'm gonna switch these two vacuum hoses back here. It's the only thing I can figure. Yeah, and I think I'm right. I think this one goes here, down at the bottom, and this one goes on the top instead of the other way around like I had it. I think I wasn't getting ported vacuum to the vacuum modulator on the transmission, so then it would not upshift. Wow, this is a good hose. I can't even get it off. There we go. Got that one there. I think that's just a bleeder somehow. I don't know what it does. Okay, switched them. But it's all I can figure that would cause that, so I really, really hope this fixes it, because if it doesn't, I'm stymied. And I hate being stymied. Take it for another test drive. See what it does. Well, the interior does leave a little to be desired. I mean, the steering wheel is a little crusty, but most of it polished up okay. The seats are kind of gross, and I was throwing this towel over it, but that don't stay. Speedometer doesn't work, gas gauge doesn't work. As far as I know, the temperature, idiot light, and the oil lights both work. Let's fire it up. We'll go for a little spin. See, my gen light comes on. Oil light comes on, and when the door's open, fasten seat belts, I think, comes on. Let's see what comes on with the door open. Nothing. Oh, there we go. Engine temperature comes on with the door open. So we know all the lights work. None of them are burned out. So it isn't fully warmed up. Don't sound bad in here, does it? Pretty quiet. There we go. This thing runs about what I would expect this car to run like. I used to have an old Cadillac. I had a 72. It was a Fleetwood Brougham. The thing was humongous. But here we go, and it goes pretty good. It's pushing me back in the seat, and I'm hardly stepping on it. And I got it shifting. I did have the vacuum lines in the wrong spot. That kept it from shifting. But it's shifting right now. Ride's pretty good. It's got that boat ride, you know, where you kind of wiggle all over the place. But I don't mind that. That's what it's supposed to ride like. These are Northeast PA roads, and they're not so great. That's one reason I do like the 15-inch tires and rims instead of like the 18s, 19s, and 20s and 22s. You hit a pothole, you lose a rim, you lose it all. With these, I can hit a pothole, and you know, unless it's extreme, really extreme, you don't lose a tire, you don't lose the rim. Everything still rolls and works. You might throw it out of alignment, you damage the crap out of your car, but you don't bend a wheel every time you do it. So this isn't exactly the posh lap of luxury that Cadillac is known for. I don't have a headliner in here. Obviously, it's just the painted steel roof, but that's okay. If you go back to the older videos, you'll see what I had to evict from here just so I could climb in it. It doesn't smell bad, nothing like that. So all in all, I think I'm pretty happy with the old Junkyard Caddy. I think I'm gonna go downtown and take the Empress for a spin. Seems like a good idea. But in the meantime, I hope you guys like this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you on the next one.